Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, happy Friday. Is it going to be a happy day? So far, the answer is no. Bitcoin has fallen further from last night and could continue. Global, massive panic hits Bitcoin and crypto. So here's what's really going on and what you should do about it. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Welcome, guys. We are opening up today at 105.8. Yeah, 105.8. Yesterday, we were like last night, we were like 109. And obviously, if you look at this, just a few days ago, we made a new high at 126. So we have fallen down. Since the beginning of October, we have fallen down. And today, someone like BNB is really falling at a little bit above 1,000, but down 7%. ETH down about 2-3%. Sold down about another 2%. And a lot of red today. A lot of red. So what is happening? Well, let's see. The U.S. market is opening up in the red, although Dow turned green. This entire week, starting from Monday to Thursday, has been pretty rocky, pretty red. Okay? And yesterday, it made things worse that you had a couple of global banks sell off hard because there are now fears about bad loans. Are we going to see more bank closures or collapses? Don't know. Hopefully not. We had a lot of this going on, but of course, the reason why this entire week has been bad was due to this. Trump and President Xi, they've been going at it. This whole trade war thing, right, has not been good for markets. People don't know what to think of it. And when, this is going to end, we know it will. But while this is going on, the markets have not been doing good and have been selling off, right? But supposedly both presidents will be speaking to each other at this APEC summit, which starts October 31st to November 1st. So we got to wait a couple of weeks. That's after the next FOMC meeting. And right now, there are also, even though tariffs seem to be really good bargaining chips in terms of forcing other countries to do what we want, but small businesses are absolutely being crushed right now by tariffs. So that's the flip side to things. So a lot of things on traders' minds right now, or Wall Street's minds, or just people and general investors, right? This is the reason why we have this FOMO with gold right now and silver, and not in anything else. But are things going to improve? Is it all bad? Is like the entire crypto market going to fall to zero, or is Bitcoin going to fall to 26,000? Yeah, 26,000 prediction. I'll show you all the negative naysayers that are coming out right now. The answer is no. The answer is no. And here's why. And I'm going to share with you all the great things about Bitcoin and crypto. It's certainly not out. It's down, but it's not out. First of all, Bitcoin ETF yesterday are not good. Yesterday, a huge outflow day, 530 million. But again, most of it was from other funds that's not named BlackRock. BlackRock did have 3 consecutive days where they did have outflows, but very, very tame versus all these others that are panic selling right now. Okay, so even though we did have a little sell-off yesterday from Wall Street, it certainly doesn't negate all the buying that happened prior in September and October and all the previous years, right? So that's number one. And BlackRock certainly isn't dumping. You're not seeing BlackRock dump like $1 billion worth of Bitcoin per day. That's not happening. That's not happening. And even with Ethereum, you would figure yesterday would be a horrible day for Ethereum, that the outflow for Ethereum should be like plus billion. No, actually, in fact, BlackRock actually took in and had an inflow for Ethereum yesterday. Interesting. Interesting. Even though the rest of the funds sold out and overall net flow is negative, but BlackRock still took in. Think about that. Think about that. All right. What else? What are other good things that are going on? Okay, not just bad. Well, Florida's proposing to invest 10% of its funds, okay, into Bitcoin and crypto. So we still have individual states that are trying to do the same. You know, we had a big push earlier this year about states adopting a Bitcoin treasury and adding funds to it. That's still ongoing. Florida, same thing with Ohio. They want to put money into a Bitcoin fund. So there's still a lot of that going on. Okay, you still have a whole bunch of companies from around the world, not just the US, loading up and starting Bitcoin treasuries. Newsmax, all of a sudden, is going to build a Bitcoin treasury with $5 million. It's a start. It sounds very tame versus some of the other companies, but it's a start. MetaPlanet also started like this. MetaPlanet started just buying like 1-2 million, and now they're buying hundreds of millions at a time. Okay. Same thing with Saylor. Although, no, he started with like a $200 million buy. There's a Hong Kong firm that is doing that, $200 million in Tether Gold and Bitcoin mining, right? And then you have another Japanese company that buys 59 Bitcoin, and, you know, the list is vast. So you still have a lot of companies that definitely believe in Bitcoin, believes that's not going anywhere, and is still loading up. Okay, so that's also very good. And if you look at liquidations, okay, we had another close to 1 billion longs liquidated, but even then, 300 million of shorts liquidated. It definitely has not been favorable for either side, long or short. Okay, but the good thing is, if you're looking at this, the liquidation levels, okay, we have, again, liquidated a lot of longs on the downside. But look at all the levels going back up to 115. That's a lot of shorts waiting to be liquidated too. And we know market makers love to move markets to liquidate people. So that's also in the works. And if we do climb back up to 125, there's about $17 billion worth of shorts waiting to be liquidated. Okay, so that's a reason for us to move back up, just simply because the market makers can liquidate a whole bunch of shorts. Look at this chart. Look at how on the long side, basically, there's nothing left. But look at the short side, how much shorts have been piling up. Whenever it gets too heavy on one side, that's the side we move towards. And right now, there are a bunch of shorts. All right. So right now, Bitcoin hits the most oversold level against gold in 3 years. Okay, and also the M2 money supply. That's something that a lot of people aren't talking about, because the M2 money supply continues to go up. And gold right now is also going up. There's massive FOMO with gold right now. And that was my point, my video point yesterday, I guess. The point of my video yesterday, last night, there's something going on that has never happened. There's like euphoria with gold right now. Gold is supposed to be a flight to safety, a store of value, but people are treating it as the next Bitcoin right now. There's like massive FOMO. And that normally doesn't lead to good things because we have seen it with Bitcoin. When we have these massive run-ups, guess what happens, right? The bubble bursts, and then we go into crypto winter, and then we reset, right? It seems like that's what's happening with gold. It's going up in a way that it shouldn't. And when the bubble bursts, like it has before, it's actually really good for Bitcoin. So if you look at this chart, obviously the yellow line is gold right now, okay? And then the green line, not green line, the orange line is Bitcoin. But last time it did this, when it topped out around like $2,300 an ounce, and that was back in 2021, you could see it topped out and started going down, and that's when Bitcoin started skyrocketing. Okay? And that was around where we are now. That was, that was more towards the end of the year. So that's the thing. Right now, gold seems to be leading the way, but it'll probably be doing the same thing as before, where it finally, eventually goes to this top point, and then the bubble gets burst, and then the money flows out, and it'll flow out into other investments like Bitcoin and crypto. We have seen that many, many times. And we have seen these pullbacks many, many times. Even at our current pullback point, like 105 something, okay, we're only down 17% from top. So even looking at this current cycle, going all the way back to 2023 and 2024, we have seen bigger corrections. We have seen 32%. Twice. I totally forgot about that. But those happened, right? And then even coming up from bottom of 15,000, we still saw a 22% drop, a 20% drop, a 22% drop. And you look at the last cycle, we have seen some pretty dramatic drops as well. And the cycle before that, pretty dramatic drops. So, what does this mean? Well, this is pretty normal. We see this all the time. But what happens after those drops? Do we form another low? Do we go lower? So far this cycle, no. Every time we have a drop and it's pretty bad, we pick ourselves back up and continue forward. Like clockwork. And if you look at how tame our cycle has been, this makes you feel like it's not going to be over this year. We may just continue forward after December because we continuously have these like 4, 5, 6 months of gradual sideways movement. We may have a little dip and then boom, we make the next leg up. And we've been doing that since 2023. You could see it. It looks very, very different than the last cycle, which bottomed in 2019 to 2021. Looks very different than that. And certainly looks very different than the 2016 bottom going to 2017. Right? We're more slow and gradual now, not like a parabolic rise to the moon. But that could be a good thing. This is part of the maturing process because Bitcoin obviously is much bigger now than before, right? So we have seen this before. It's not time to be calling like, okay, Bitcoin's dead. and I'll get to that in a little bit. And you know, from a TA perspective, you still have people that are looking like, okay, this is actually pretty normal. Those drops that we've had, we formed a bottom according to this moving average. This is where Bitcoin usually bottoms in 2023, 2024, earlier 2025 several times. We have seen these falls. And what happens when we bottom out? We pick ourselves back up and then we move forward higher. Just look at it. It's been happening. Just the time scale sometimes takes a while. It takes like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months sometimes. But then we eventually pick ourselves back up, or Bitcoin does, and then we move forward. Right? Let's not forget, we fell to 70,000 6 months ago, and we fell down to 40,000 last year. And let's not forget the 15, 20,000 that we were at in 2023. Those times we also fell, I showed you guys, 20, 23, 25%. But we kept going. We kept going, right? So right now, you have a lot of people, okay, especially on crypto Twitter, that are super, super bearish. Super bearish. This is the thing about Twitter, okay? People usually, when they get really bearish, is because that's how they feel, right? They either got liquidated, or they're feeling the pain, or they're feeling the misery, and they want others to come down to their level. That's what you're saying. So like James Wynn, for example, he's the guy that loves to play with hyperliquid, loves to get liquidated all the time, throws these huge leverage and build an audience for himself, right? Not a good reputation, a guy that's lost like $100 million with his leverage. And he's spreading a lot of fear right now. You look at all his posts, everything is red, 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 red. We're going to go down, and basically like the end is near. It's probably because he's been getting liquidated left and right. That's why he's so bearish. Because if you weren't getting liquidated left and right, and you've been DCAing, even from a few months ago, you wouldn't feel this way. Like I said, we were at 70,000, 80,000 6 months ago. We're not to that point. There should be no reason you think it's going to be that bearish. You got Andrew Tate. Not that he's a credible crypto source, but people are talking about this where he's saying that Bitcoin's going to go down to 26,000. Not even Peter Schiff is saying Bitcoin's going to go to 26,000. Okay, and what's his rationale? I listened to part of it. Just because he's blaming there's too many people that are going longs right now, right? At this point, longs are just holders, not like leverage traders. Long-term holders are not going anywhere because our average price is way lower and we believe in Bitcoin. But you got Andrew Tate spreading a lot of fear now. You got random guys. I'm not even sure who this guy is, but he has a large audience. I'm done with crypto. I quit. I was promised a golden bull run. All I experienced is devastation in the trenches. I'm going back to my corporate job. Good luck to the rest of you. So I saw a really good post earlier today that I said in the live chat. These are the type of people that will sell at 105 and buy back in at 150. Okay, take a second to think about that. So, what's going on is a great shakeout. It's not even a great shakeout. It's a shakeout for sure. But not like such a big one that is making everyone quit. But, you got a lot of people that are very negative on Twitter. Very, very negative. And it's because that's like, it's a self portrayal basically into how they really feel. So all these people that were pretending to care, pretending to be bullish, pretending to be Bitcoin bulls or crypto bulls are now revealing their true colors. Okay. And that's unfortunate because we need more people that actually believe in what they're saying. That's why people always accuse me of being too bullish, because that's how I feel. I've been through too many cycles. I've been through too many of these downturns. And I know that we always recover. And what we're going through now is not nearly as bad as some of the ones before. Not even ones that we've experienced earlier this year. Not even years ago. Even earlier this year. People forgot how low Bitcoin fell to in April. That's only 6 months ago. It's like people have short-term memory loss. Even this guy, Fifi from Crypto Banter, just 21 hours ago, he was like irresponsibly long. And now he's like, I was wrong. I took the loss. The bull is almost most likely over. Well, you got all these guys coming out, turning super bearish. It's because he got liquidated. I'll guarantee you that's why he turned bearish, because he got liquidated. Because he probably threw some longs yesterday that got liquidated earlier today. Okay, so, you know, don't be one of these guys. Nick, he's from one of the founders of Coin Bureau. Crazy to say, but crypto Twitter sentiment right now feels worse than FTX. Not really. Not really. But it depends on who you follow, because if you follow one of these guys I covered, maybe, because they're spreading massive fear. So, you know, these are the times where people reveal their true colors. The reason why I have such a large following and people come to me, and whenever it gets dark, people come to me, like right now we got almost 6,000 people watching, is because people know that I won't flip-flop. I won't come on and say, you know what, I think it's all done. You know, Bitcoin is done, crypto is done, because that's not how I feel. Again, I've been through so many of these. Of course, I don't like to see my portfolio go down. No one likes to see that, but I know we'll recover. I know this is temporary. I'm not going to go out and tell everyone that, okay, this is all manipulated to hell and the entire market is screwed and it's time to get out. I'm going to sell all my Bitcoin and go find a corporate job. No, I'm not going to say that. Right? So be careful who you follow. During bull runs, everyone looks like a genius. All these influencers, Twitter, YouTube, KOLs, and bull runs, everyone looks like a genius because everyone can make any call and it goes up, right? It's really what happens during crypto winter in the down trenches. That's who you know, who you could trust, right? Because there's too many people that are way, way, way too bearish right now. Way too bearish. Even at 106, there's no reason to be this bearish. Zero. In fact, if you look at where we are right now, 106, for Bitcoin, we've only fallen 2% from yesterday at this same point in time. So if yesterday, when I started my stream right around 9 o'clock, we were at like 107 basically, right? So did we fall like 10% or 20% from yesterday? No, we didn't. So, I mean, even looking at it from that perspective, yeah, we're a little bit lower, but the entire market is lower. We got this panic FOMO buying with gold and silver, and all those guys will be coming back. So it's not the end of the world, but it's hard to see that if you're following people that are spreading mass panic. And, you know, I just saw someone, you know, Mandy Girl says, 106 isn't even that far off from the top. We're like 15% from the top. Again, I think people forgot that we were here in April. Okay. And we were here also July. Actually, you could go all the way back here. Yeah. So, yeah, maybe we've fallen back 3 months to a level we haven't seen 3 months ago. But look at all this period when we couldn't even surpass where we are now. Right? So the world is not ending for Bitcoin and crypto. We're going through a tough time because there's definitely suppression, there's definitely manipulation, there's definitely market makers that have liquidated and driven a lot of people out. And you have, on top of that, uncertainty with trade wars, with macro stuff, with gold FOMOing, right? But this is just, these are all distractions. These are all distractions. Distractions to make you lose your focus on attaining life-changing wealth or financial freedom through Bitcoin and crypto. Don't be one of those guys that sells at 105 and buys back at 150, because there will be so many that will do that. They will think it's over. They'll listen to people that say, well, we're going down, back down to 80s or 60s, or Andrew Tate saying 26,000. And they'll keep waiting and waiting and waiting until they can't wait no more and buy back in at 150. Don't be one of those guys. All right. That's it. That's it. Let's do some Q&A. Well, look at that. Even Wall Street is like, yeah, I think we're oversold. I kind of thought that today, at least for stocks, it would turn green, because we had 4 straight negative days. Coinbase is still down slightly. MicroStrategy's up, which is good. Robinhood slightly down. Broadcom slightly down. So, you know, we'll see. Trump's approval rating on the economy takes a hit because of the shutdown, inflation, tariffs. No good. No good. Love Bug. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah, you know, it's funny because earlier this year in Dubai, when I was attending Token 2049, all of a sudden, a lot of people said, oh, you know, there's this yacht with the Tate brothers. And a lot of people went and met him. And, you know, to be fair, most people that met Tate and his brother, Tristan, said they're super nice. But it was clear that they were there during Token 2049 because they wanted to meet all the big crypto people. They wanted to get themselves involved. But his online persona versus how he is in real life is totally different. From people that met him said that he's like the nicest guy. He does not act like how he acts on crypto Twitter or on his streams. But, you know, calling for Bitcoin to go to 26,000 is just purely shock factor. You know, just say something that's so outrageous and get you the most number of views. That's the name of the game, basically. Hold on, I gotta stop something. Do you think the 4-year cycle is over? It could, but in a good way. Not in the way most people say. Not in a way where people like are saying, oh, and Kevin O'Leary's. I saw this. Kevin O'Leary's like shitting on Ethereum. But it's not really shitting, it's the truth. This has been ongoing for like 7 years or 8 years. I didn't know that Ethereum got congested recently. But yeah, Kevin's throwing this on like during the worst time. He put this out yesterday, almost 1 million views, about how Ethereum could congest. It's like paying $1,000 toll to drive on a 1-lane highway. Yeah, this is why I'm a big fan of Solana and other chains because of this reason. But I was going back to this, right? Someone was asking, is the 4-year cycle over? It's over. It could be over. I'm not saying for 100% certainty, but I think it's over 50%. From this perspective, every single cycle we had before this one, we have a top, and then we go into crypto winter, and then we start over, right? And the top usually ends in November or December, but this time around, maybe not. Just look at how consistent we have been since 2023, right? Slow and steady up rises. We have these dips like the one we're going through now, and then we slowly recover and go back up and form a new leg. It's been slow. We haven't seen that parabolic rise up yet. And maybe we won't anymore. We just still move forward the same way, slow and steady rises to wherever. And then we have this like stale period, and then we just keep on going. So it could very well do this in 2026 and 2027, and then lead us into the next halving event in 2028. It very well could be like that. And the reason why I think so is because of ETFs and institutions and these treasuries that we've never had before. Prior to this cycle, we never had BlackRock and all these other guys offer ETFs that have tens of billions of dollars of Bitcoin in them. And soon we'll have tens of billions of dollars into crypto ETFs outside of Ethereum. We'll have Sol, XRP, and all these other ones. And of course, these public trade companies like Sailor's Strategy and Metaplan, all these guys that are holding hundreds of millions to billions of Bitcoin, they're not all of a sudden going to dump, right? And a lot of big institutions have bought Bitcoin too. They're not going to dump. They buy it for, as an investment for decades. They're not going to say, well, it's December, let's just sell our $100 million worth of Bitcoin. So because of the reasons, I think we have a very high probability that the 4-year cycle is over, that we don't fall 80-something% in crypto winter, and then we continue forward. Yeah. Harsh says Sol's literally dying when 300. Do you remember when Sol fell to $8 and people claimed that it was dead? Were you one of those people? How is Sol dying? Its metrics are still way better than even ETH now. Robert Young says a lot of low IQ people here. Yeah. Yeah. People are trying to point fingers, spread their misery because they feel miserable. That's just most people. Most people that are new to this space within the, let's just say last last 3 months, they'll feel that way. But even people that got in 6 months ago can't possibly feel that way. Up until like 2 weeks ago, 90+% Bitcoin holders are in profit. So everyone here that is feeling really negative either got liquidated or they're holding 100% alts, and that's why they're feeling that way. V Hunt says, truth is, George, you can afford these dips. You made your money. Yeah. Do you not have a job? Did you invest too much? Did you invest more than what you can afford to lose? What's your point? Everyone has their own budget. Everyone has their own risk tolerance. Even I do. But even with all that said, I'm like still like 100%. Like I almost basically hold no cash in my bank accounts because I still think that's ridiculous. I hold almost everything in crypto and now some stocks, right? But you got to make sure you have that dry powder. And I do. I made sure I learned from my mistakes from previous cycles, right? I made sure I had some dry powder this time. So I'm able to buy the dips, and I've done very well. So you got to learn your own lessons. And I try to teach you guys that. I try to teach whatever I'm preaching usually is like life experiences from me that I've experienced in past cycles or even now this cycle. I've said many, many times throughout this year, have 20, 25, 30% in cash. And for most people, it goes in 1 year and out the other because they don't want to hear that. They put all their money in. And most people are miserable when we go down is because they have all their money in and they can't cost average. They can't DCA. Gabriel says, do you need a wallet for dry powder? Do you need a dish for your dry powder? Subspace has it right. If you must sell into strength. Yes. If you have to take profit, there's no dangers, okay? No one ever gets hurt taking profit. You just lose unrealized gains. But still, no one gets hurt taking profit. But you don't do it on a downside. You do it on the upside. Right? Most people sell because they're panicking. That's why the title is Mass Panic. That's why there's nearly 6,000 people in here. Because most people only care when there is a sell-off. By the way, change the subject. You guys see that in the live chat I have pinned the tournament link. Okay. We are going to still have one of the greatest Clash tournaments tonight. So make sure you tune in. It's going to be 8 p.m. today. Big prizes, big giveaways. A lot of you guys are complaining and saying Soul is dead or you're out of dry powder. Well, here's your chance to win just by either playing or spectating. Okay? That's happening tonight on my other channel, my Project Clash Royale. So you got big prizes for the top placers, the top 10. But not only that, random players will win. Okay? Random players will win. And spectators will win. Okay? So I have designed this tournament basically to give max winnings and max giveaways to all that participates and spectates. And that's going to be tonight. And, we're going to probably get I reached out to Big Clash streamer, one of the biggest, I think, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be playing tonight, and he's gonna be streaming it to his audience, and we're gonna get a whole bunch of new people coming into this project. Hopefully, if not, at least become players. So if you want to play, or if you want to spectate, you want to get some giveaways, right? Sign up to the forum. It's in the description. Jeezy says, I think it's Jeezy or Jezzy. Thanks, George. I would have been 100% alts if it wasn't for your 50% Bitcoin rule. And I haven't DCA into anything since Bitcoin went above 30K. I'm sitting real comfortable. See, that's the other thing too. You know, I've always said that a good portfolio has at least 50% Bitcoin, 50% Bitcoin, and then 50% in whatever else. And that usually breaks up into 25% big caps and 25% mid, small caps. If you follow that, you're sitting pretty good. Bitcoin is not that far down. Alts are, because there's so much panic and people spreading panic right now. That's why. Let's get this going. Let's see if we can see this. Ryan asks, I missed a couple super chats, I think. Ryan asks, George, number one, when do you anticipate the market will top out? Maybe never. I just got done saying we can go into a super cycle. Two, do you think ETH SOL XRP tops in 2029? If we go into super cycle, then no, it could just keep on going. Will be higher in 2029. Will be higher. Whatever the top will be at the end of the current. So, okay, Ryan, you're assuming that we're going to have a top, which I'm starting to think there's less and less of a chance of that in December. I think we could just keep on going. And if we keep on going, then all the big cap alts will keep on going and following Bitcoin. Bitcoin always leads the way. The reason why Bitcoin leads the way, if you haven't figured it out, is because we haven't had any truly killer dApps that have broken any of these chains away. If we had the next TikTok, for example, on Solana, and there were millions and millions of people using it every day, then yeah, Solana would break away and decouple from Bitcoin. But the problem is we don't. And the same thing with BNB, XRP, Ethereum. We don't have this like killer dApp or dApps that's separating them. One day we will. One day we will have something outside of just DeFi, outside of just DEXs, where millions and millions and millions of people will use it every single day, and it's so ingrained into people's lives. That's when that chain decouples from Bitcoin. But until that point, everything is going to follow Bitcoin. The RRA archives. What about Sol's inflation? What about it? ETH has inflation. Almost every crypto has inflation. It did eclipse 2021 high. Why are you trying to spread so much FUD about Sol? Because you're an ETH guy? If you're saying Sol barely eclipsed 2021 high, Ethereum barely clipped 2021 high either. right now, they're both sitting lower than their previous high, but they have done well this year versus most alts. Ripple, XRP has a set supply, but Ripple owns 50% of the supply, and they unlock like $1 billion every quarter because that's how they do business. They unlock it and they sell it to whoever. So even though XRP has a set supply, not really, because Ripple Foundation owns 50% of the supply and they constantly release it. So it's not really that they have no inflation. Zcash, surprisingly, has the biggest gain year to date, mostly because the last 30 days it went up 300%. Aster's still up because of CZ, and then you got something like Meme Core, which I have no idea who they are. It feels weird there's no true euphoria phase this time. Okay, keep in mind we did November to January of this year was euphoria phase. We'd had a little bit. Right now, we're still in mid-October. We're not in December, guys. If we're in December and we're still at this level, like mid-December and Christmas is around the corner, then it's a different story. We're in mid-October. I just had this rant yesterday. Go look at 2024. 2024, Bitcoin didn't start moving until the last week of October and November. 2023, it didn't start moving until mid-October, which is where we are now. So we're not like so vastly off from what we have seen in previous years, right? It's very similar. Very, very similar. People are saying gold is dumping. I told you guys, gold is going to have a bubble top. Gold shouldn't be moving like this. It's supposed to be like a stable coin. It's supposed to be stable. It's not supposed to have like parabolic tops like this. And silver's down even more. Silver's down 4% today. Well, if the stock market has turned green, if it could stay green, that's a good thing. But yeah, I have a feeling that this is going to be ended sooner than later. Supposedly, you know, he's going to be meeting with President Xi in a couple weeks. It's very obvious that Trump cares about the stock market. So whenever he sees a lot of big corrections, he tries to like put out something to change it. So I think this could be, we'll probably go hear more about like, oh, we're going to settle or we're going to do something. We worked it out or something. Probably by next week. What are your thoughts on a bank credit defaulting? Well, we have seen that before. We have seen many banks go under before. And it won't be good if it happens again. But, you know, in the US, the Fed has all these controls now. They basically will inject money into any bank or take them over. That's what they did in like 2023 or something. I forgot when was the last time they did this. 2023 or 2024, we had these banks go under and they just took them over. So ever since 2008, 2009, now the Fed basically like makes sure that banks don't go under. But if there's more fears about them going under, then it makes it easier for the Fed to cut the Fed fund rate even more. You know, like right now we're set to have two more. One in a couple weeks and one in December. If things get much worse, if banks start collapsing, then maybe we get a 50 basis point cut in December. But overall, I don't think we should be wishing for that. That would make things much worse if we started having a whole bunch of banks collapse left and right. Chit chat, I'm sorry. I did see you had super chats. Let me see if I can see your channel activity. Your last super chat was, you missed my super chat right before Ryan, and I don't see anything after that. I don't. If you miss a super chat, just you know, if I miss it, just say, just type it out instead of saying you missed my super chat, because then, yeah. So what was the super chat I missed from before? The super chat was, hi, George. So he sent a super chat saying hi, and then I didn't respond, and he sent another super chat saying, you missed my super chat. Well, I'm sorry. Normally speaking, I don't look at the chat when I'm like going through my thing. So if you're going to send me a super chat, wait until it's Q&A and then do it. Because if you send it to me while I'm in the middle of like going through things, I'm most likely going to miss it. Man, so many bearish people in here. Okay. First of all, stop following all these other bearish people on X. It's going to like make you feel worse and want to panic dump more. Listen to positive people. Listen to people that are actually speaking with reason, rather than people that are saying, oh, the end is near. We are, you know, falling to whatever level and the bull run's over, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Don't fall into that trap. Randy says, what alts are good at good purchase at this point. You know, like the things I have in my watch list are generally the ones that I think are good and good to watch. So that should give you an indicator. There's a reason why. Okay, you got to think about it. You got to think from this perspective. There's a reason why we just had that big liquidation event. There's a reason why it seems like we're being suppressed. There's a reason why there's a lot of fear going on. And there's some intent. Okay. Because a lot of these things are not natural. So, and I've said this last few days, it makes me really feel like this is the precursor to the final leg up that we've been waiting for. This is the way that these guys, whatever you want to call them, the insiders, Binance, the market makers, the giant whales, whatever, this is their attempt to finally utilize some fear, drive more fear, drive as many people out as possible to acquire low, and then ride it to the top. It feels a lot like that. And I've sat through a lot of these periods. I've sat through after FTX collapse. I sat through Mt. Gox fears. I sat through a lot of these situations, okay, where it feels like it's so dire, everyone is bearish, and that's when we turn up and we continue forward. I've sat through so many. I sat through when Bitcoin fell to 3,000 after, after the second run from 20,000 all the way down to 3,000. ETH fell to $88, okay, in 2018 or 2019. Take a second to think about that. And I sat through COVID. Literally every person on the planet was scared because of the shutdown and because of this new virus. Okay, Bitcoin fell below 4,000. I sat through that too. Everyone thought Bitcoin and crypto was dead. ETH fell to $100, I think, in 2020. But guess what? It didn't die. Nothing died. We recovered and we kept going. Right now, obviously, nowhere as bleak as those times. But we have seen so many of these. Like, you see all these people turn bearish. And then, guess what? We recover and move higher. It feels a lot like that right now. Feels a lot like that. We were here for steady lads deploying more capital, Do Kwon. I remember that. He was trying to sound arrogant and cocky, and then it really backfired. Anyways, Ryan, last super chat. How far out from now will we know whether the market cap will not top out or keep going? I'd say mid-December, January. That's when we know. If Bitcoin stays, let's say at 110, 115, all the way until December, and we still haven't moved anywhere, then we know that it's either going to be super cycle or we had a crypto winter. Right now, it's just too early. You can't tell what's what. Come December, moving into January, we'll definitely know. All right, don't forget, guys. Don't forget about the tournament. You can win some soul. You can win by playing. You can win by spectating. And we'll save all the giveaways for tonight. But make sure you sign up. If you haven't yet, sign up. You just need to hold some cash and you go win some soul. Make sure you do so. And then make sure you sign up for the tournament. Okay? It's going to happen tonight, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on my I Am George channel. I have I Am George channel. It's not going to be this channel. There's always mass confusion. Like, where's all these? It's in the description of this video. Okay? So make sure you guys tune in tonight. All right, guys. Stay strong. Stay focused. Don't listen to all the super bears out there. Okay? We will get through this. We always do. So stay positive, HODL and DCA. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Take care.